would you lead us in an invocation, please?
Dear Lord, Heavenly Father, Creator of heaven and earth, we just invite your presence into this meeting and your peace. Lord, we thank you for each and every citizen here, for their concern with our county, Lord. Thank you for them, and we ask a blessing on each and every one here. You know their heart. Help us to conduct our business in the proper manner, Lord, a manner that will be pleasing to you. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us. We can't thank you enough. We sometimes fail and take things for granted. Lord, help us not to do that. Help us to remember who you are and what you've done for us. Thank you again for all the love you've shown us. We ask these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Item number 2 is to approve the minutes of the September 10th regular Board of Commissioners meeting. Commissioners, please let me know when you've read and ready to move forward.
I've read and I'm ready, Chairman.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay.
Second.
All right, all in favor? Minutes are approved. Okay, public commentary. If you wish to speak, please raise your hand, come forward and address the commission board. Tell us who you are, where you're from, and let's keep our comments to 3 minutes, please. Yes, ma'am.
Sure. Good afternoon, commissioners. My name is Jacqueline Howard, and I live with my family in Fannin County on Johnson Road. And I am here today to express a great concern not only to myself, but to many Fannin County residents, and should be a concern to all. 5G, it is short for 5th generation wireless technology. It is a radio frequency, which is labeled RF as an acronym. It is a radiation combining 3 types, ranging from relatively low energy radio waves, microwave radiation with far more energy, and millimeter waves with vastly more energy. The extremely high frequencies in 5G are where the biggest danger may lie in comparison to the previous 2G, 3G, 4G, and 4 LTE. What makes this even more dangerous is that the 5G and all these 3 levels of frequencies are adding on top of the present 3G, 4G, and 4 LTE. 5G is a short wave frequency, therefore needing antennas and power bases in close proximity to each other, and a clear path between these. Sidewalks, telephone poles, light posts are easy placements that are being utilized already in placement of these antennas and power bases. But also open spaces like the fields around schools. They've already been placed in open pastures behind schools. Cities having higher density populations have been targeted first and have already been implemented. But there are intentions in place to implement further and outreaches into rural and countryside areas and small towns. Health symptoms reported from wireless radiation exposure are far more than what I can list and state right now in the 3 minutes. But they include a range from sleep disturbances, lack of concentration, changes in memory, to brain cancers and other cancers, to neurological harm, particularly to young children, and to reproductive health and problems in pregnancy, for example. Wireless RF is a class 2B carcinogen, according to the World Health Organization. I fear for my family. Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you for your concern.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Okay. Who would like to be next? Yes, sir.
Evening, commissioners and audience. My name is Steve Oakley, and I'm here with my wife, Jean. She's the other one we're dressing alike tonight. We represent an organization called Fannin Litter Busters, and we organized it in the spring of this year. We recently moved back to this area, and we're just really surprised at the abundance of trash that we see along the streets now. And it wasn't that way when we left 12 years ago. And so we thought, well, instead of just complaining about it, we'd stop and pick up a little bit and then a little bit more. And we've now adopted a road, and we decided to start a Litter Busters, which is working with the county land development office. We're organizing different events, and the next one we have coming up is on October 5th. It's a Saturday, and it's from 9 until 11 o'clock. And what we're asking is that people, if they're interested in participating or just getting to know a little bit about the organization, to show up at 9 o'clock at UCB's Picnic Pavilion on 515. And we're going to have a little organizational meeting, talk about strategies, and then we'll go out and pick up a little trash. And we've worked with the, most of our efforts prior to this have been on side roads, county roads, and this is the first time we're going to actually be out on 515. And so we got in touch with Georgia DOT just to make sure they're okay with it. We talked to the local police department. So we feel like we're pretty well organized, and Zach's helping us arrange for a sign, because we're concerned about safety, of course. Anytime you park your vehicle and walk along the roadside, you have to be aware of that. I also want to thank some of the commissioners who participated in the past in some of our events. We appreciate that very much. So, anybody have any questions?
Steve, you've been in the past coordinating with Miss Woody.
Yes, Marie Woody is
Your
correct. She's our
activity coming up October 5th. Are you also working with her on that?
yes, yes. Yeah, Marie has been extremely helpful all the way.
Okay.
We thank her very much.
We appreciate what you do.
Well,
Mr. Let me ask you, if someone wanted, you said something about you adopting a road.
Correct.
If someone wanted to do that here, could they contact you and you tell them what?
Well, actually, it's right in this building right here is where they adopt the roads. It's, Jean, what?
Miss Woody?
No, Tammy
It's-
Smith downstairs, she's in charge of that. She keeps that.
It's right before Marie's office, and they have the forms there. And we'll actually have forms available too when we get our get together. But that really helps a lot. We adopted part of Loving Road, and it's just it's very satisfying. It's not much fun picking up after people, but it's also a lot better than just driving by and seeing the trash all the time. So we try to help out a little bit.
Okay. We thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr.
Thank
Oakley.
you.
Okay, who's next? Yeah, yes, ma'am.
How are you?
Hello, Miss Sue.
Hello, Mr. Stan. Commissioner Stan. My name is Sue Campbell, and I hope you can hear me that way because I couldn't hear all that you said, Jacqueline. And we just found out on Thursday of last week that we were both coming to talk about the same thing. So, are y'all hearing me?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Well, I've been in the county just long enough to have some concerns that I have a tendency to bring in front of important people when I see them or hear them. And this was a concern about the health of, it was a webinar or a docu-series that's about the health of 5G. And I had to listen and watch it. It was one of those 7 where you do it every day for an hour or so. And then they brought up the word technocracy. Well, this is all another language. I'm a nurse. I've got science in my background, and I had no idea what they were talking about. So I wanted to come and express that the technocracy term is when 5G wants to impact either a police department or a commission or any industry that they want to come in and sort of take over because they have such well-found principles that they are going by, and they just present a package. And the towns and the cities and country areas like ours and states are starting to buy into this because it looks like it's a slam dunk. But it's not helpful for the people. And my health concerns are why I'm here. I mean, we're talking about plants, we're talking about animals, we're talking about EMFs, we're talking about EMTs, not the other kind. We're talking about EMSs, and these all have a relationship that's like back to another language. So I wanted to introduce people to that terminology, and also to say that once you have Wi-Fi in your home, you have 5G because it doesn't have a cord on it. I didn't mean to do show and tell until the last minute, but this is a mouse, and it is a mouse that doesn't have a slide on it yet because it's too far away from home. This is not good. But,
Go ahead, Ms. Campbell.
but your others are. With, as long as it's got a cord on it, it's not 5G. Was that 3 minutes?
Yep.
You say a lot in 3 minutes, Ms. Campbell.
I guess I'd like to say a lot more. Okay, well, one big thing that really hit me is that we've got this in our home right now, and there's no fix for it. When all of those vibes, it's like going to the dentist and they put on a great big apron. Well, when you aren't with an apron and you're in your home with 5G every day, it will hurt people's health. And that's my big message. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Campbell.
Thank you,
We
Ms.
appreciate
Campbell.
you. Anyone else? Anyone else? If not, we'll close public commentary and move on to our new business. First item in new business is a variance request from Richard M. and Christine Young. And this is to build a carport 18 feet from the edge of Sun Rock Mountain Trail. This is a private road. It's not a county road. First of all, is there anyone here that opposes this variance request? No one? All Commissioners weigh in on this. Commissioner Patterson, what thoughts do you have on this?
Well, I went out this morning, met with Mr. Young, and we had a good conversation. He showed me what he's doing, and I really don't see any issue in requesting his variance. Get accepted.
Okay. Got any thoughts on this, Mr. Johnson? Okay. I don't either. This is very steep, and I don't see where anyone could have a problem with that. They're not going to slide over into that. So I would make the motion that we approve this variance request. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second. All in favor? Variance is approved. Our next variance request is from Bernie and Monica Hodgkins, and this is to rebuild a house back on their current location, which is 12 feet from the edge of Woodstock Drive. This is, again, is a private road and is not on the county system. Is there anyone here that opposes this variance? Commissioner Patterson, you want to express your views on this variance request?
I looked at it, talked with Mr. Hodgkins, and I don't have any issues with granting the variance.
Mr. Johnson, you have any thoughts on this, sir?
No. I don't know how there's a 6-foot existing road, but I don't know of any road that's 6 foot wide and the car can get down. But if they want to build that close to the road, that would be. The only concern I would have is it being living space, but if they live there this long without having any troubles or issues, I don't guess. If they're comfortable with it, I'm comfortable with it.
Okay. All right. Haven't heard the issues. I will ask for a motion that we approve this variance for Bernie and Monica Hodgkins to rebuild their home back at the current location, which is 12 feet from the edge of Woodstock Drive. I'll ask for a motion to approve.
I make a motion.
Okay. I'll second the motion. All in favor? Okay. Variance is approved. You folks are welcome to stay if we're here just for a variance, but you certainly don't have to stay if you wish to leave. It's not rude at all. Thank you for coming. Item number 5, our August month-to-date budget report by Ms. Gasaway.
Anyway,
And this is the 2019 budget report for the January to August.
Can you talk a little louder, please, Robin? Do you have it?
Yeah, this is the January to August 2019 budget report. Nothing really changed as a percentage wise. We're at 3% under budget this month as well as last month. And if you took these percentages out to 4 points, we actually did just slightly a little better. I just want to leave this up a little bit for everybody to look at it. And this is just a graphical representation of where, you know, the taxpayer dollars are spent. And again, these are just points of interest. We should be 67% into the budget as of the end of August. The points in red were a little over on their budget. Again, this is not much different from it was last month. We have collected $185,874 from the recreation. I think Eddie's going to be speaking, and he might have an up-to-date. This is just through August.
Robin, I'm sorry, you want to go back to that?
Yes.
And elaborate a little bit on the fire, the overage on that and how that's being repaid back?
Yes, I will. The overage on the fire department, approximately half of it is due to an annual lease payment that's paid at the first of the year. And the other half of it is some expenditures that we did for the new fire station. And since we had some money left over that I anticipated we would spend, we did not spend, I'm reimbursing the general fund for those expenditures, but that did not happen until September. So that's why it's still showing a little bit over. It's showing over right now, because this is just through August.
So it's going forward, as that gets paid back with that overage amount?
We'll go down and continue to go down. Unless, of course, the fire department spends more money, you know. And then Mr. Patterson wanted me to show where we had sold some property, and that's the revenue generated from that on the revenue side. And again, we're just 3% under budget at this time. And this is the lost and SPOS collections. This is through, it's July collections because we're a month behind, and this was received in August. And as you can see, we continue to increase from the prior years. And of course, the first column, the 2016 column, is an annual. That was what we collected the whole year. And the other 2 years, 17 and 18, is just through August. I was trying to give a graphical representation of how we did in the past and then each month.
Robin, the lost collection amount is just the county's portion
Yes,
of the 1 cent
at the
section?
1 cent, yeah. If any of the commissioners have any questions?
Hang on, see if the commissioners have anything they want to question.
Robin, going back to your first page, it still looks like, I know we've talked about it in the past, the risk management, 87%. And we've got, where are we at the end of September? Any comment on that? Are we gonna go over?
We are going to go over expenditure-wise, but then we have what's considered what's called a stopgap, where the reinsurance reimburses us. And I think the question was asked one county meeting, and what I looked up, it was our stopgap is at 2.4 million, and that's total-wise. And then, of course, then there's a stop on each individual employee. If they go over a certain amount, the reinsurance reimburses us. So that keeps our costs down, you know, overall, you know, for the whole year. Like the last 2 years, we have had just a very little over $2 million in healthcare cost, net of reinsurance.
So what's the max again we have to?
2.4. I think this year, this what started in July 1st, because they're on a different year end, is going to be 2.2 or 2.3. It'll be the maximum that could happen.
That we'll have to pay.
Yeah.
that we could pay.
Any further questions?
I have no further questions.
Any questions, Mr. Johnson? Okay. All right. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Turn the light on back there, please. Thank you, sir. Item number 6, Ms. Kathy Williams, the Vice President of the Friends of the Fannin County Public Library. Kathy, come on down and tell us about your upcoming event, the book sale.
Hi, everyone. First off, I want to thank you guys very, very much for the use of the Fulton Fire Station for our book sale. We were really in a dilemma in the spring, didn't know where we were going to go with the closing of the Methodist Church. And once again, you've stepped up and let us use this one coming up in October. So our used book sale generates funds for Friends of the Library that we give the library to buy books, computers, scholarships, food for parties, Christmas party, furniture, membership in the ALA. So this goes to a variety of good causes for the library. Our book sale will be Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, October 11th through the 13th. And you can donate books on Wednesday, starting at 1 o'clock, Wednesday and Thursday before. So we take everything, including books, CDs, and DVDs. And so it's a great way for people to recycle the books they've read and put them to good use. So that's pretty much all that we're about.
This is your biggest fundraiser for the?
It is. We have 2 a year, and they all are in conjunction with Arts in the Park.
Okay.
And we usually raise around $2,000 to $2,200 from each of these sales. And this is selling books from 50 cents to $2. Every now and then we might have something there for $5. So we sell a lot of books, and we have people that come regularly every year. We've got a few that come, and they're down here for the summer, and then they go home, and they will buy 40 to 50 to 60 books. We've even have some librarians come from other places to purchase books, so it's a big fundraiser. And it's vital to the success of the library. And you know, an educated and well-read populace is a healthy society, and can only make your populace and your town better. And it's a great way to sponsor the arts in this form. So I really want to thank you again for allowing us the use of the old fire station downtown for this event.
Well, thank you very much.
We appreciate you also, and give us those dates again. Some people may have missed it.
Okay, the sale is going to be from October 11th through the 13th.
Okay.
That's Friday from 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday 9 a.m. to 5 p.m., and Sunday from 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. And on Sunday, we have a special bag sale to kind of clean out what we've got left. We have that from 1 to 5 p.m. And in our May sale, we even had a guy come and buy nearly every book we had left. I don't know what he was doing with it, but boy, we really loved that. That was great.
So if you're looking for bargains, 1 to 5.
You 1 to 5 of your bargains, but let me tell you, we get our biggest crowd. They're waiting on us to open on Friday because they swarm. They want to get those books before they're gone. And you can bring your used books Wednesday and Thursday starting at 1 o'clock. And we'll be there from about 1 till 5 to sort the books and have them available for sale.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Williams. We appreciate you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
All right, item number 7, Miss Ashley Hoppers, the new University of Georgia Ag Extension Agent. Come on down and introduce yourself to the 2 commissioners. You're the the new Eddie Ayers. Have you heard that yet?
I have quite a few times. I say Eddie 2.0. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for the generosity and letting me have a space in this evening's meeting. I won't take up too much of your time. I don't know if y'all can hear me well or not. I'm kind of tall. So yeah, I'm Ashley Hoppers. As of September 1st, I began my appointment in Gilmer and Fannin counties as the Agriculture and Natural Resource Extension Agent, a long title. I also manage the office here in Fannin County and work with Miss Becky. An absolute pleasure to be up here. Just a little bit about myself and why I'm so happy to be serving this community. I have a long background of working with small fruit and tree fruit, both from a producer end and from the academic side. I also spent some time growing vegetables, so I'm very well acquainted of the effort and the time that's put into producing a crop. But beyond that, I also have the technical expertise from Auburn University, and so I have that research background too. So I'm really excited to get here into the community and work with our area producers. Now, of course, Extension is a public service outreach unit of the University of Georgia, and so my services are certainly not limited to our agricultural producers. You know, we serve everyone in the community, whether that be a homeowner, schools, through our 4-H, and then family and consumer sciences as well. So I'm just excited to be here and to share my knowledge and become a part of this community. I'll tell you, this is one of the friendliest places I've been to in Georgia, and so I'm really happy to be here.
That's because not many people know you're an Auburn War Eagle.
I figure, you know, the best relationships are built on honesty, right? So I'm going to go ahead and get that out there to begin with. But UJ has adopted me, and I've been working as an extension agent since 2017. So I guess they can't quite get rid of me just yet.
We'll forgive you for that and hope to convert you in the future.
Yes, sir.
Ashley, how do people get a hold of you? When are you here? I know you're at Gilmer some as well, probably.
That's right, that's kind of a pickle. So working for 2 counties is new for me. I have 2 days here, as you mentioned. I'm trying to work to where it's a consistent day, Wednesday and Friday. Sometimes I've pulled out of the county for trainings and conferences, so that might vary somewhat. But I'm striving very much so to provide that consistency for both counties. So I'm looking to have a Wednesday, Friday up here unless some meeting or something else pulls me away, and I'm hoping for some understanding from both counties if that happens.
Okay, good. You got a number or anything you want to reach?
Yes, and I am so embarrassed I haven't memorized our office number yet, but I do have my card here. So the Fannin Extension office is, of course, 706-632-3061, and you can reach me directly through my email address as well, and that's aahoppers, Hoppers, @uga.edu.
AA?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate that.
Glad to have you, Ms. Hoppers, and welcome to the community, and I look forward to you being here for quite a while.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
We appreciate you.
Thank you very much. Item number 8, Judge Cochran informed us that he wasn't quite ready. There's a few additional issues, so we'll remove that from the agenda tonight and move on to item number 9, the hotel motel lodging tax. We had an extensive workshop before this meeting earlier and met with the chamber representatives and some folks in the lodging industry. And I think we've come to the conclusion that it would be a good thing for us to move forward and raise the hotel lodging tax, hotel, from its current 5% to 6%. And we'll vote on that if the commissioners agree. But the process is kind of lengthy. It would take some time. It has to go from here locally to the state, and it has to be put in the legislative agenda for next year. And then it would be up to them as to when that law would be enacted. And then if approved, what we would do at this point, we would need to have very close coordination with the lodging industry in Fannin County to make sure that it would be hopefully a seamless transition when people make reservations expecting a 5% tax and it go to 6%, that can create a lot of issues for the folks that are operating the rentals. So kind of a lengthy process, and the primary motivation for the county to do this is that as we get more and more tourists coming into the county, and they like to enjoy all the great recreational things we have, including snow in the wintertime, but it is becoming a bigger and bigger load on our emergency services. These three gentlemen sitting back there can confirm that. Certainly law enforcement, it impacts animal control, and certainly our emergency services. When someone calls 911, we don't ask where you're from or if you're local. If you need help, we're out there. These folks are as soon as they can. But what's really happening is our budgets and our needs are being, we have more needs and our budgets are being strained. And the conversation, which if we can continue here, is that if we were to be successful in getting this passed, to take those funds, the county's portion of increase, and roll that strictly into a public safety fund for that and for nothing else. And this does several things. It helps us with our future needs for public safety. It also helps the business owners as we have better resources to respond to people, and we're able to do that in the future, then that hopefully eliminates the risk of someone having a very difficult encounter with emergency services, just not having enough people or enough equipment to get there. So it helps all of us to do that. And Commissioners, we had a pretty extensive conversation and meeting. You've got anything further, Commissioner Patterson, that we need to add on this?
No, I think you covered it pretty well.
What say you, Commissioner Johnson?
I have nothing to add.
Okay. Well, then the first step on this would be a resolution from Fannin County. And I'm not going to read this thing entirely, but it basically states that we as the taxing authority would request the state allow us to move from 5 to 6% on this. And the schedule on when this would happen, if approved, would be sometime in the not so distant future, but certainly next year sometime after legislatures have their chance to look this over. So without any further discussion that I would have, I would ask for a motion that we approve this resolution and send this on to our state representative. I'll ask for that motion.
I make the motion.
Okay. Do I hear a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, motion is approved. Okay, item number 10, it's necessary for us to change our planned budget hearing, which originally was for Wednesday, October the 2nd. And we'll need to move that, if it's okay with the two commissioners, that we move this from October the 2nd to Wednesday, October the 9th. Is that date change okay with you, Commissioner Johnson?
I suppose so.
Okay. Commissioner Patterson, I know it's okay with you.
Yes, sir. That will be fine.
Okay. Well, then we will move that meeting, and we apologize for any miscommunication on that, but it will be, this will be the county budget hearings with the elected officials and the department heads that will be in this room Wednesday, October 9th, starting at 9 a.m. So we'll make that change officially. Okay, item number 11, Mr. Eddie O'Neill, you've got some good things hopping and you need to talk with us about it.
Thank you, Eddie.
As we spoke about before, or in the past meeting, we're ready to move forward with permission of the board to begin construction of new restrooms at Horseshoe Bend Park. I gave you kind of a simple spreadsheet of a kind of a not to exceed budget on that. So what we're looking at is the grading, demolition of the current bathrooms, build a 20 by 20 set of bathrooms with a 20 by 30 pad, kind of a walkway around that, and pour a wheelchair around, make sure everything's ADA compliant. So, and that breakdown comes to that total of about $53,680. And we would add HVAC to that. The existing bathrooms have no power, no heat. We lock them down in the winter times. So we would pull power, add heat to those restrooms where they can stay open year round in that park. That's the maintenance department, along with some of my guys out of maintenance, will do most of that labor. Obviously, they won't do the HVAC, or they won't do the wiring, but they'll do basically the framing and the siding part of that building. So it would look very similar to in color with hardy plank siding. The metal roof would match exactly what's in Tom Boyd Park with those earthy brown colors. So we can have a consistent theme throughout all of our parks. And
The interior be similar?
interior, what we do is come up, not as fancy as other bathrooms, we come up 3 foot from the floor with tile, then bring the rest of it up with tongue and groove, which would be easy for our guys to put that in. So there would be about 3 feet of tile up. We'll slope the floor drains where that can be washed out, disinfected, you know, to clean the restrooms, make it easier especially during the summertime and the high usage. That summer, fall, it's really, really busy down there.
And currently you don't have any heating or?
There is no heating, there's no lights, there's skylights over the roof. That's the way it's lit, so when it's dark in the restrooms. They're basically useless. So we would wire everything, make it the motion sensor lights similar to what's in the school buildings. Person come in, lights go on, they leave, lights go off. Same way with the water faucets, you know, push button, water runs, and when they leave, that cuts off. So it's kind of self-sustaining type restrooms.
What would be your time frame that you're shooting for to get this completed?
We're ready to start. I would hope to have it done by December. That's our goal, to be done in that time frame. Depends on how fast we can get the wall pours in there. So what we do is pour a back wall, the kickers, a retaining wall, and then we'll frame out 3 sides. That is the plan.
Any questions, thoughts, Commissioner Johnson?
No, I'd be glad to move forward with rebuilding those, because they've served their time, and it's ready for an upgrade.
Would we have any, we've discussed this before, when we make an investment and improve something like this, I always have that worry about vandalism, and you've solved that out at Tom Boyd with the gates. And I know you got an extra little encumbrance out there. Is there anything that we might look at to enable that or improve the security?
Well, we've discussed that before too. It is time to put a security gate out there. You know, we got Mr. Cook who lives in the back, but we could work that out with him. My fear is with the restrooms of the night, and if we do heat that thing and leave it year round, we kind of are exposed for people kind of camping out.
Yeah.
In that area. So. But there is no estimate for a security gate in this office.
We could handle that at a future point, the
Absolutely.
security gates, but that's definitely something you agree that we need to look at. Okay.
So you don't tolerate overnight visitors?
We prefer not to have them.
You got any thoughts or questions on this, Commissioner Patterson?
No, Eddie, I appreciate you, major upgrade and certainly needed. It's time.
And the total amount here you're asking for us to approve and not exceed is $53,680. You feel like that'll do the job? Okay.
We would like to look at that security gate in the near future.
Okay.
Be good.
Yeah, we can get quotes.
Okay.
Any other thoughts, Commissioner Johnson?
We keep the same amount of toilets, or adding.
We'll add, basically now there's one toilet in each restroom. So in the men's, we would have a urinal, a toilet, in the women's, we'll add an additional toilet to that, so they would have two toilets, partition toilets in there.
And you're actually going to place that off the road a little bit that gives us opportunity maybe to fix that little bottleneck.
That's correct. It'll actually face in the restroom, it'll set to the right and back, probably another 10 foot from where we're at right now, the existing restroom. That's correct.
That would really improve that, because that's always during a crowd, just a horrendous traffic bottleneck. And it's also a safety concern when you have people that are walking out there on the park, that's going on there. So that would be an opportunity to improve that as well.
Yes.
Okay.
We can cover all that for that wheelchair ramp, so that we can, handicapped folks can have access up to the restrooms with a walkway around it.
Any further discussion, Commissioners, before I ask for a motion for approval?
I make a motion.
Okay. Well, let me ask for a motion first. I ask for a motion.
Okay. I make a motion.
Okay, I ask for a second.
I give a second.
Second. All in favor? Eddie,
Thank you, guys.
Eddie, Roy.
Thank you.
Thank you, Eddie. Okay. Item number 12, Chief Larry Thomas, you're going to give us an ISO update tonight, so come on down, Chief.
If I can get this thing lined up where I don't boof, boof. No, we've had a very exciting last 2 weeks. In fact, very busy. The department's been well busy. I did type this up, so kind of bear with me as I read it. But I didn't want to go too deep, get wild off the hill and say too much. But then again, I have spoken to all the mayors and the water authority about the information that we will need from them to make the water score improve on our ISO score. We have one temporary contracted person working on hydrant maintenance, which he's out there opening them, flowing them, and greasing them. And we'd like to hire an additional temporary contract person to help in this process. I have asked the water department to do the flow test, if at all possible, and records will be kept on all this. This potentially can earn us a maximum of 7 points in the water department section. But we will need to pay these two people to perform these hydrant tests and maintenance with this money that can come from our operations account and showed out, I guess, as contracted labor. There's approximately 800 plus hydrants in the county. And to gain the points for the fire department section, we need to hire paid firefighters. That, in addition, would be responding to fire calls, will perform other tasks such as pre-plans and of commercial, industrial, and institution buildings. We have started a new rookie class at this time, and we'll be offering more training to our current volunteers. Training will add to our points also. We have already had hose and pump tests performed for this year, and we'll need to have this done yearly to gain points in that area. We will continue to do as much public safety education as we can to gain points in that area. Additionally, Cherokee County, Georgia Fire Chief Tim Prather has offered the services of his analytic manager, Sherry Collette, to assist us in reviewing the ISO findings for any mistakes or items that were overlooked during the audit. They have agreed to provide her expertise at no charge to Fannin County.
When will that take place?
As soon as we get her scheduled.
Okay. Larry, you said earlier something about hiring a temp. You wanna-
Temporary contracted labor
You want
person.
to elaborate on that? I mean, price?
He's averaging, right now, the one is averaging 20 to 27 hydrants a day. I went ahead and moved forward with the one, but I would like to hire another one to speed the process up.
Would you like to do that?
Maybe Monday. But anyway, he's already got
Is that budgeted for, is it?
the My Mountain area, he's got it, that's all the water authority hydrants. And he's already moved into the Morganton area, testing those, or not testing the hydrants, but actually doing the maintenance on them, which is greasing, oiling, and flowing them. And making sure that they're visible.
But that is gonna come out of your budget, or do we need to talk?
Yes, sir, my budget.
Okay.
Did you ever have any luck finding any companies that will do flow tests, or is that something maybe the cities are agreeing to help? I mean, what kind of feedback have we gotten from any of the?
And that's what I talked to him originally about. You know, I finally did get to meet with Mayor White, and that was one of the things that we talked about, and that they are already providing us with the stuff that they already have in place, or actually have already done. They've had other agencies come in and test hydrants for the businesses, and they've already provided us with that.
Is that a recent test?
Yes.
I mean, how far back do these tests?
3 years.
So what about McCaysville?
McCaysville haven't provided anything, other than they're gonna help us out in every way they can.
So with the being the game 7 points, we just having flow tests done on the hydrants. So what do we need to do? Were you able to move forward and find any contractors that do that type of testing? Because I'm glad the guy's going around greasing everything, but
Right.
I think they need to be doing the correct flow test while they're
Flow
doing it.
test as well, and that's too, with why it would take 2 people to do it. But, I talked to one, and, yeah, I think he had quoted me $75 per hydrant, which, probably $60 grand to do all of them. But he would be able to do it, you know, but then again, I don't know what kind of time frame he would set on 800 plus hydrants.
But the contractors you're talking about hiring, they're not actually doing a metered flow test, they're doing,
Just maintenance on it.
so,
And we do get credit for that as well.
How long is it gonna take them to do that, Larry?
I'm hoping they'll have it done by the end of the year. You know, we're gonna turn right around and do it again right after January, weather permit. That's the only bad thing about right after the first of the year. And then we'll have 2 years behind us when we have this second audit.
Okay, so is it gonna cost $60,000 this year and another 60 next year to do this?
If we have them to flow test, if we're looking at hiring a contractor to flow test. I'm hoping we can work something out with the cities where, you know, it didn't cost the county.
because they don't have to flow test every single hydrant, do they?
I don't think so, and that's one of the questions that's went unanswered to me as far as ISO saying.
Because the guys you're talking about, the contract labor you're talking about hiring, they're not gonna be able to do an actual flow test. They're flowing the hydrants, like
Just
water
flowing,
running
not
down
flow
of them.
testing.
Just so we're all clear on the differences.
Yes.
A flow test tells how many gallons per minute and probably pressure at that hydrant, correct?
That's correct.
So if they flow them, we see there's water there, but I think part of the points come from knowing how many gallons per minute and pressure,
You're
correct?
exactly right, yeah.
So we might wanna look into, if the contractor can do it all for would you say 75 a hydrant?
Per hydrant.
So if we can get by with, if they required on 50% of the hydrants or certain regions of water, that needs to be something we look into, I think, on top of the maintenance.
Right, that's right. But the maintenance has to be done once a year too, so.
Have we had any discussions with the county water authority to see if there's anything we can work together with them on, if they have some avenue to help us with this?
Oh, yeah, well, and I've spoken with Mike several times, with this, and that we're looking at, other companies that have actually done flow tests on them to see if we've got a file. So, Mike I talked to, and then, the three mayors, and then that could be something too, as far as sitting back down with them and seeing if they want to work something out. That would be a fast fix.
Because it's one thing to say that they're willing to do whatever it takes, and it's another thing to actually do whatever it takes. So that's why I like to work out the particulars. What does the city of McCaysville want to do to help with this? Because this ISO rating is going to affect people in the city of McCaysville, just like the city of Blue Ridge, so on, so forth. So you're saying flow test every 3 years, maintenance every year?
No, flow test every year if we want to get the full credit for it, but they want 3 years worth of flow testing to give us full credit. And I'm hoping to give them 2 years next year when we have them back in, and at least we may get 2/3 of the full credit.
We're still planning on getting them back in July.
I'm hoping, yes. And then after we.
You haven't got any confirmation of
Well,
that?
then I won't until after the score has, or the, November, after they announce it in November, that's when I'll start shooting for them to come back to me. And I've got the packet, I'm working on the packet now to get it ready to ask for them back in.
Have you heard any more about the increase as far as insurance rates going up?
Well, other than the guy that I talked with ISO, his words was 1 point's not gonna be that big, but that's all I can get. If it was 2 points, yeah, it might be big. On one.
So to other issues of the report, let's move on to the more part of your comments. Full-time firefighters.
Uh-huh.
I mean, that's another area in which we, I guess it was under personnel, is that not correct? Under the
Correct.
report. It was it takes 3 volunteers to equal 1 full-time personnel.
Correct.
So that's another area where we lack. That's something we need to really start talking about coming toward budget time to see what we can do to help the department with full-time firefighters.
Right, and I have been working.
If numbers like that can be presented, so we can be going over them before then. Because I think that's another area we're gonna have to move towards
Right.
fixing, is having full-time firefighters. And a culmination of all these things, hopefully that number can come back down. But if we keep saying that it's not gonna raise things that much by 1 point, it's really not gonna be worth the county spending a bunch of extra money. So we need to make our mind up, does the ISO rating mean anything, or does it mean nothing? Because if it's not gonna matter that much, we really need to stop talking about spending all this extra money if it's not gonna matter that much.
That's correct. It does mean something, it don't mean nothing, it does mean something.
So every time it's mentioned, though it can't just keep, it's not gonna be much. Because if it's not gonna be much, then let's just leave it the way it is and deal with it. Let's not hire the full-time firefighters. Let's not do flow tests, because all that, we're talking about money. If it's not, if the change isn't gonna mean a whole lot, then we need to stop talking about spending more money. But I think we can all be in agreement, our ISO rating needs to go the other direction.
Yes, sir.
So to go the other direction, it's gonna take money.
Yep.
I think we all understand that. So I don't think we need to keep saying it's not gonna be that big a difference. Because if it does go up another point,
From 2012 to 2018, we lost that 1 point.
we can go back the other way and focus on that, because that's why we would spend money to get that number to go the other way. I would venture to say, and have a better department, so, I think that's what we're all after.
Larry, do you feel like, it's been like 3 weeks, I think, since you came here to talk to us last time. Do you think since then that we are progressing? Are you progressing? You
Yes.
feel comfortable with what you've got accomplished in the last 3 weeks?
Yes, and, as far as the department's still doing good. There's, a lot of people saying what they feel like they need to say, that we're progressing. No, our department's moving harder now than it ever moved before. And I'll stand behind the department and say.
Well, what I wanted to, I redirected that. I wanted to see if you were progressing with the
Yes,
ISO
sir.
investigation and trying to improve on the ISO score.
Yes,
Think
we
We are.
stepping forward every day.
What's the number one problem you still feel like that we need to look at? Is ISO, are you able to contact them? Are they able to give you feedback? Or what?
There is conversations going on between me and Michael Stokes. I don't know if he was on vacation or what, but the last week, it took me about 2 days to get in touch with him. But I left him his voicemails, and then he returned my call.
Well, that's good.
I would like to see when we have our budget meeting on October 9th, for the thought to be that to get our ISO rating back to a 5 is going to cost the county how much? And if we were to reduce that down to a level 4, that's going to cost the county how much? That'd be the type of things I would like for us to talk about. I think going the retrogression from 5 to a 6 rating, we know is not good. The unknown is how much it's going to cost. It's going to depend on the individual and their agents. But I think as a whole, having a goal of getting it back at least to where it was, a comfortable number, not just barely on the edge, but a comfortable number. And then being able to tie it to, it's going to cost the county X dollars. For me, that's what I would like to see. And the 2 post commissioners can have their own views about it, but I think the bottom line for me is that to get it back to that level is going to cost the county what? Does that sound reasonable to you, Mr. Johnson? Put it that way.
I believe so, because I think we all agree that it's gonna cost real money to get it back. And those numbers will be very important. Budget process. So,
Give us something to work with, okay, for that budget. That would be good.
All right. Any
Well,
other?
while he's standing here though, I can say that I was able to witness firsthand, the need for some full-time firefighters. Saturday, I guess it was 2 weeks ago. Not Saturday, yeah, it was all Saturday, so the Saturday before. There was a fire in my neck of the woods. I was able to show up and just kind of watch what they do in the process. And we should be very thankful for volunteers that do participate. But the glaring, obvious thing that I saw for all of your department is there just needed to be some more people there.
Right.
Just for help, so the people that were squirting the water and it was 90-something degrees, someone have a relief. Or I don't know your exact term for extra bodies, but,
And that's what it's called, relief.
relief, okay, so correct term, all right. As he was saying, we need the numbers to know so we can put a number to the cost. But it's very apparent we're moving in that direction of having to get full-time people. But if we have the numbers, and I can just share with the board that I finally personally got to see it firsthand on a Saturday. Sometimes people are busy doing other things and you couldn't get the amount of people out that you would have probably liked to have, but it still all worked, everyone was still safe, the fire was still put out, but it would be nice to have some more help. So even though I try to agree with you every now and then, I do also now want to give you some relief and let you know that I did get to see with my own eyes why you need some more help. The volunteers do a great job, but it would have been nice, you know, in that one instance, what you and I talked about, what if a fire broke out in Morganton or somewhere at that point? So,
But we do have other resources out there.
Right.
We'll pick up on.
but you would love to have some full-time firefighters,
Yes,
so
sir.
that's great.
Yes, sir.
That's what I was trying to get at. But it all worked well that Saturday, and it's made me appreciate even more what volunteers do, because, I mean, they were soaking wet, and it wasn't from water, it's from wearing those, I guess,
Turnout.
fire turnout gear.
Turnout gear.
So,
All right, sir, I don't have anything further.
Chief, we just one last thing. If you can get a little bit better commitment out of those cities, you know, right now, I think Mr. Johnson spoke about it. We need to get a little more specific on what they can, what they are willing to do to help us in this situation.
Right.
All right, sir, anything further? Thank you, Chief, appreciate it. All right, Commissioners, do we need executive session?
I do not.
All right, I'll ask for a motion for adjournment.
make the motion.
All right, I'll second it. All in favor? Thank you folks for coming.